Whenever you hear about a new herbicide, in today's agriculture, you may be thinking, wait a second, I didn't think there were new things coming. Maybe it's a combination of some of the things that are already on the market. And if so, why does that combination work better than the other combinations that are out there? Well, I want to talk a little about a new product called Resicore that is a combination of several different products, but it is pretty exciting in the weeds that it controls and how well it works.
Well, yeah, it certainly is exciting, but I think price has a lot to do with this. So if you take a look at what the components are of this Resicore, let's step back for just a second. Resicore is from Dow, and in the past, Dow has had a product called Sure Start that's the same thing as Monsanto's Triple Flex. Well, what Sure Start had in it was Surpass and Hornet. And Hornet was just a combination of Stinger and Python. So Surpass, Stinger, and Python. Well, for us in the Midwest, we said, hey, you know what? We've got a lot of water hemp. We have common ragweed. We have a lot of different weeds that some of these ALS herbicides, like the Python that's in Sure Start, they're just not working the best on this anymore. Wouldn't it be nice if instead of having that ALS component, we could have an HPPD component similar to like Callisto, for example? Well, that's exactly what Dow did with Resicore. They took out the Python, inserted the mesotrione, which would be the same thing as Callisto. So you've now got a product that's Surpass, Callisto, and Stinger, and the Stinger is really good on Canada thistle.
Well, it's a nice product to use pre-emerge, and I think the big thing is just paying attention to what is in some of the combination products that you may be using on your farm so you can adjust what your plan is post-emerge to make sure you aren't doubling up on things. For example, in Resicore, you've got a full rate of Callisto there. So should I use more Callisto or Laudis, Armazon, Impact in crop? Should I use another HPPD? Well, for our farm, the answer is absolutely not. There's no way we want to do that. We've already used that chemistry out there. Let's get a different mode of action out there that's effective on the weeds that we've got. So we've got some water hemp on our farm, or pigweed. It'd be very similar to palm or pigweed that we see a little further south and in other areas of the country. So we've already taken a shot at that pigweed with a group 15. We've already taken a shot at it with something like the HPPD component here. So why don't we try something different? So for our farm, we may choose to use Status, for example, or may use some atrazine with that Status. Now we've got a couple different modes of action post-emerge that would be different than what we did pre.
One of the great things that's happened on the farm here over the last few years is that many of the products we've liked to use have gone off patent. So Callisto now, that active ingredient mesotrione, that's off patent. So you're going to see a lot of different companies selling that active ingredient out there, and it also means the price is coming way down. Well, if I say, okay, I like Surpass, I like Stinger, and I also like Callisto, I want to buy each of those three individually, you're going to pay way more money than you would buying Dow's Resicore. So that's the reason I'm excited about this thing. They got the price really reasonable. And if you take a look at what is in there, the Surpass is going to be excellent on grass normally, but there is a reduced rate. So just kind of keep in mind that, yep, I'm going to get grass control, but is it going to be as good as going a full rate of Surpass by itself? No way. So if you want to throw some extra Surpass in with your Resicore, or another way to handle this, some people are throwing a half rate of Surpass down, following with Resicore post-emerge, that's a good way to go to.
Well, that's the big thing, Brandon. Here's where I wanted to go with it, is how do you use this product? Do you use it pre or do you use it early post? Now, I talk to farmers every day of the week on Ag PhD radio who are saying, you know, I'm just not going to do anything down before I plant the corn. I'm going to plant the corn, then when it gets up just a little bit, I'm going to come in with Resicore. What do you think of that? Well, you know what? You can probably kill most of your weeds, maybe all of your weeds, depending on what you got. But the problem is now you've allowed weeds to get up and compete against your crop. And what we've seen over the years, well, really over 30 or 40 years worth of university trial work, is that when we use that pre, we get more yield than if we wipe out the weeds post-emerge. So in this day and age, if you want to be profitable on the farm, you have to get the most yield. And if you could use the same product, spend the same dollars, just use it in a different way and get more yield, well, that's the right way to go. I believe it is using a pre-emerge herbicide. Whether it's putting straight Surpass pre, coming with Resicore early post, that would be fine. Just don't skip the pre. I think you're making a mistake.
Yep, or you can use Resicore pre, follow with something like Status post-emerge. You've got a lot of different options, and that's one of the great things. You know, when we look at soybeans, we don't have a lot of products that we can use pre and post. But in corn, we have many, including this Resicore.
Well, it certainly is a promising new product, but can it control our weed of the week? We'll show you what does stop this weed coming up later in the show.